Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Born from Sin. I'm your host, Danielle. Today, I decided that we would talk about confidence. Growing up as a child, I didn't have a lot of encouragement throughout my life. I was told things like I would never amount to anything. I was told that I was pretty ugly. And stuff like that stuck in my mind for years. Growing up, I wanted to first be a veterinarian. I loved animals, and it's something that I was very passionate about. Then I found out that as a veterinarian, you unfortunately have to euthanize an animal. Although now as an adult, I understand why they do that. It was not something that I was prepared for as a child. And the only thought that crossed my mind was that I would be killing an animal, and I couldn't do that. So later on in life, probably when I got to high school, I decided that I wanted to become a counselor for abused women or children that had been through sexual abuse because I had been there myself. And I always thought that it was very important that someone had someone else that they could relate to, that could understand what they went through. And I always thought that that would have made me a fantastic counselor. So as high school went on, I went into the guidance office to see a guidance counselor, and we were starting to talk about, going to college and what path I wanted to pursue for my career. And I told him that I wanted to be a counselor. At that point in time, there were already a lot of people that were already in the college course to become a counselor. They were already overwhelmed with the amount of applicants that they already had. So I was more or less discouraged from going down that choice of a career. I was discouraged from becoming a counselor because of there being so many people already in the field or going into the field that I would have been struggling with my career. So at that point in time, I didn't know exactly what else I wanted to do. I was very passionate about music, but I can't sing. Well, not that I can't sing, but I can't sing like, Carrie Underwood and, sell a million records. And I loved cooking. And I thought that was a very interesting path that I could take because I really I enjoyed food. I mean, who doesn't like to eat? And I was always very creative when I was in the kitchen. So a few months later, I went back and I spoke to the career counselor at the high school, and I told him, "Hey, listen, I would really be interested in becoming a cook or a chef." And he said, "Well, that's fantastic." So that was technically the career that I was going to pursue. And then when we got around to the college application part of it, I realized that to become a chef, not that I couldn't have taken the course. The problem would have been that I likely would have had to have moved away from where I was currently living in Sudbury, Ontario, to pursue my dreams and become a chef. I'd have to move to somewhere like BC or Toronto to be certified. And at that point in time in my life, my mom was still around and she was still schizophrenic, and there was a lot going on. Again, something that I ended up not pursuing. So for years, I had zero confidence in myself that I would ever find my path or find what the heck I was meant to do in this world. And up until recently, literally bounced from one job to another. No career, no path taken that I should be on. Nothing. I just literally bounced from one job to another, and it was all like minimum wage type jobs. When I finally got into college, I had gone to the Toronto School of Business. It was located in Sudbury, Ontario, and I had taken I had taken the business course because at that point in time in my life, I was with the father of my youngest child, and he was a musician and he had a recording studio. So we were going to get this business off the ground. So I took the business course so that I could, run the books and stuff like that for him and take appointments and so on and so forth. And after I finished that course, I still didn't feel it was only like a year-long course. So it was like one of the Toronto School of Business, one of those fast track colleges. So after that year, I didn't really feel that I was prepared to completely help him run this business efficiently. So I ended up taking the administrative secretarial course, which was again about another 9 months to a year long course. I was actually pregnant with my youngest child at the time, finished up both courses, and then I ended up having my daughter. Once my daughter was old enough and I was able to go back out to work, it ends up that my diploma or diplomas from the Toronto School of Business are not certified. And that means that they hold no credentials whatsoever. So I literally wasted 2 years of going to school to get no diploma, or a diploma that is null and void. And I'm still paying off OSAP loans to a course that I took, or to these courses that I took, that the college is null and void, and I'm still paying back the government these OSAP loans. It's ridiculous. Again, I went back to working at different places. I worked at a hotel as a front desk clerk. Worked at a gas station, worked at a corner store, worked for a heating and plumbing company. Nothing career-wise that I was at for a extended period of time. And then once I got married to my husband now, when we first met, I was working for a mining equipment company, and it was probably the only job that I had that I would have considered a career. I was there for a few years, and because of the mines that went on strike, unfortunately, the company that I worked for was a mining equipment company, and if you're not renting out mining equipment, you don't have a company to run on. So unfortunately, the company ended up closing down. I was then offered through EI, because I was on EI. I lost my job through no fault of my own, obviously, because the company closed their doors. And EI called me up one day or whatever and said, "Hey, listen, would you be interested in perhaps going back to school again?" I love school. I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally down with that." They gave me a couple of different schools to, go check out, kind of thing. And I picked one, and I went in and took the medical secretary course because I already had my non-valid business diploma. I already had my non-valid executive secretary diploma. So I was like, well, at least now with the training that I do have, although I didn't get an official diploma for it, I can still use these skills to my advantage and take the medical secretary course. So that's what I did. And I graduated from that. And guess what happened? Ends up that Everest College ended up being just like the Toronto School of Business. So another year wasted. Thankfully, it was paid for by EI. However, although I did complete the course, because the school ended up being a non-credited school, like the Toronto School of Business, now I have to pay back that money too. Completely freaking ridiculous. I am 53 years old, and I am literally out of work, and I have been so hard on myself because of all the stuff that I've gone through. And it's no wonder why I don't have confidence in myself sometimes, because between being told that I would always be a failure, that I would always amount to nothing, that I was pretty ugly, those things are pretty big confidence killers. And, again, going to school thinking that I was on the right path, that I was doing the right thing for myself and for my family, and just getting on with my life and trying to get a career, only to be shut down again. Kind of a confidence killer. A few years ago, I was out of work, and I had started to write a book, and it was actually a cookbook because, again, I'm very passionate about cooking. I'm a true believer in making anything homemade if you can, because these days, uh, the prices that you pay at the grocery store are absolutely ridiculous. And sometimes there's just really no need for it, especially if you do have time to make a few recipes and save yourself some money, like making bread, making bagels, making your own milk, making your own butter. Some of these things are easier just to do yourself, and then you don't have to pay that extra expense at the grocery store because it's considered a convenience. So I started writing a cookbook a few years back. And this is while I was out of work, and I was probably about 3/4 of the way through my cookbook. And I was still, looking for a job, and I found one. And this cookbook that I was three-quarters of the way done ended up getting pushed aside because I didn't have enough confidence in myself to finish writing it and still work full time. And I was burnt out, and there was no way that I was going to get through this. So I pushed it aside and I left my dreams just sitting over there. And then about a year after that, I was in a online cooking competition, and I ended up in fourth place overall, which I thought was pretty freaking awesome considering that I was just a nobody at home, not fully trained cook or chef or anything like that. I had no degree, but I came in fourth place. And although I didn't win, not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed, but that really boosted my confidence again. And it made me realize that if I put my mind to it, I might actually be able to accomplish anything that I want. And all these, you're never going to amount to anything, are not going to be true because I deserve to be somebody. I deserve to be confident in myself and believe in myself enough to go out there and just pursue my career and live my dream. A couple months ago, I had started uh, I had started a new business more or less called Darn Good Stuff. I was creating hot sauce, and that ended up leading me into creating flavored honey. And I had advertised that I was selling this flavored honey just online on Marketplace through Facebook. And someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm very interested in your product." So I messaged them back, and it ended up that this person owns a farm out in the Hampton area of New Brunswick, and they were on their fourth year of having a Christmas market, and they thought that I would be an excellent addition to their market. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it out." And guess what? I did. Last weekend was our first weekend at the market, and I can't tell you how nerve-wracking it was because I was out there, but I was putting myself out there. I was going to do this. I was officially going to start selling my own product. First day on a Friday, the market was from 4 to 9 p.m. So you had a couple people straggling in, and it was a nice, nice evening. And I was put right at the beginning of the market. I was the third booth in, which gave me a lot of foot traffic going in and back out again because the person that was beside me created Christmas wreaths, and they were fresh Christmas wreaths, and they were an excellent price. So it drew people in, which made them stop at my table, and I could sell them my product. And a few people, came in, they went by, and they kind of looked at the table, and I was a little shy at first, didn't say much. They said hello, and then they said hello back, and, they went along their merry way. And then on their way out, they stopped again, and they bought a bottle of honey. And that was my first sale. And my husband and I just stood there and we were like, holy jeez, we just sold our first bottle of honey. We made our first sale. And that was like half an hour into the market. So around 4:30, we made our first sale. It was so exciting, and it just kept growing. And we made only like a couple $100 that night, but the next day was friggin' amazing. We go to the market on Saturday, and it's from noon until 9 p.m. Lots and lots of people there. I swear, I don't know the exact numbers, but there must have been like 1,500 people in and out of there easily. And we pulled in $900 in sales. How friggin' awesome is that? We are literally a few $100s shy of making our full money back. So from all of our expenses, like for the purchase of the honey, the products that I use to infuse the flavor into my honey, the cost of joining to be a vendor at the market, all that stuff, all those expenses are gas, everything. We are only a couple $100s shy of reaching or of getting all of our money back. So then the rest of it is all in the green, and it's earnings, it's revenue for us. And I can't tell you how much of a confidence booster that is. Like, I'm so blown away by this, and it's giving me the confidence to realize that this is something that I could actually do. And I don't have to go to work for the man anymore. I can work for myself. Between my podcast and my earnings that I get on Facebook for being a digital creator and working, one or two markets a year, I can make enough money that I don't have to work for anyone else anymore. And let me tell you, that is the biggest confidence booster ever. And I am so thrilled to finally get past the point in my life where I am confident enough that all that confidence I give somebody else when they say that they're starting a new path, they're starting a new job, they're starting a new career in college, all that, you know, cheering on that I give them and congratulations, and you're going to do this, you're going to be successful. And, all that boost of energy that I give them, I'm giving myself now because I know that I am going to be somebody, that I am worth it. And I know that I'm pretty. Not pretty ugly, but pretty. I am pretty on the inside and the outside. Not just pretty, I'm beautiful. And that speaks volumes. When you can boost your confidence back up to a level where you can go out there and give yourself the drive and the confidence and the boost that you need to put yourself out there, well, congratulations, because you've reached a very high level that you are going to continue with and you are going to grow and you are not going to let anybody stop you. Because you know what? It doesn't matter what other people think. Really doesn't. They're not the ones that are keeping a roof over your head. They're not the ones that are paying your hydro bill, paying your heat bill, paying your grocery bill. Are they? No, they're not. And what they have to say about what you're doing should have no effect on your dreams and on you continuing to pursue your dreams. Don't let their toxic energy bring your confidence down. Why? What are they going to do for you? Seriously. Are they going to pay your bills? Are they going to pay next month's rent for you? No, they're not. So you go out there and you keep doing what you need to do to pay those bills. You do you, and you don't let anybody stop you from being you. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.